Hey everyone. Well, I'm at a park that I have never found silver in until just now. Little Rosie sitting in there. I have found there's a school over there that's actually not that old, but I actually had found a barber on the far corner and a quarter and I think a merc. But nothing in the park itself. But most of the houses in the area are old enough. I mean, everything surrounding this and the trees itself being the size that they are says that there's got to be silver here. And I've been here so many times and never found silver. So I thought I would go really super slow. This, there's so many, because of the park and the tennis courts and stuff, there's so many bottle caps in here. This was coming up at 10:39, 10:40. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to dig some wheat today, I hope, in here in the trash. So that was coming up at 10:39, 10:40. So there might be something else in the hole that was causing the tone to be so low. And there is. So you just gotta, you know, and you get those, this was repeatable in both directions. This was actually my very first dig too of the day. I literally had walked from my truck straight across to here and dug this target. So I wonder what the other target is. Oh, it's a nail. Well, there you go. I see it in there. I don't think I freed it yet. So here was the Rosie was right there. The nail is right next to it. So if you literally were to have the nail like right at the end of this, but I was able to pick this up in this direction and this direction. So that's a plus for the e-trac. All right, well, I'm gonna dig that nail out and celebrate my first coin of the day and silver. And yeah, I just had knee surgery not too long ago. It's just a meniscus tear thing, so, and not screw things up. Well, I almost didn't believe it. It was down there. I thought it was maybe an edge of a rock, but I got a coin, kind of shiny like silver. I hit this one in this direction, and I was getting a nice little high tone. I saw numbers like 46, 47s, maybe a quarter, even up to 848, but it was really kind of scratchy. And then when I went this way, it was really gnawing out with a very hint of a low grunt. I opened up an all metal. This way was, I saw nothing but iron, 33. This way, every time I swiped this direction, I got a decent number, like maybe 1546. But when I swiped this way, I got the iron number. So I figured there might be a coin on this side of iron. I took my chance on a real iffy one. And I'm gonna say it's silver because it's shiny on the rim, but it's really muddy here. I mean, not muddy, but it's really crusted. And oh, I also saw like items like this is another. I think the iron's right there on that side. I saw numbers like 142 in here too. I said I had to dig it just because. Well, let's see what we got here. And that's down about 6 inches. It's Merc. Don't have my glasses on, so I can't see the date, but the picture will show it. And yeah, going slow, digging iffies. Well, I had a good signal and I should have recorded it, but I didn't, and there it is. And it's coming in, I thought about 6-7 inches, and that's about what I got. And I got me a Merc. And nothing else. Oh. So it's coming in like a quarter. Could there be more? Gotta turn it on. But, you know, I went over the hole again and I didn't hear anything else in the hole. So, I don't think this is going to be anything else, but, oh well, let's get on to this guy and then I'll play with that later. So I'm out here with Hap. He's picked up a Rosie and today, and a couple silvers the other day here, and a big 1 ounce silver round. I'll take that. Well, I think I've got a form of a token. It was coming up weird, oddly enough, it was coming up like a nickel. So I'll have to wait and see if there's anything else in the plug, but yeah, let's see if I can clean that up with my free hand a little bit. And I am not going to be able to read that even with my glasses on. Good for 5, no, good for, what did that say? Looks like it says fart. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure what that says. Come on, focus on the end there. Wow. Ugh, this camera is horrible. Wow, focus on everything but what I'm trying to focus on. Yeah, too hard to see what that is. Portland something. Traction. So it's probably an old, we used to have a trolley line that ran in Portland a long time ago. And maybe it was a token for the trolley line. Never found one of these before. Cool. Good morning, everybody. It's early morning, and it's just another day in the process of moving and getting the house ready for sale. I just wanted to throw this in there as a word to the wise. If you're planning on retiring in the near future, and if you're staying in your location, good for you, great. I mean, fantastic. If you're planning on thinking about moving, so like us, our 3 kids are all moved out of the house. Our our grandkid is on the East Coast. Our daughter's on the East Coast. Our other son is in the Southwest. So, and our family is in this area. My siblings, my parents, our parents, um, sister-in-laws, and such. And I do have family in California, um, but we're looking to retire and maybe go and visit the family, right? And stay closer to the family, and spread our time around with each of our kids while they grow their life and develop their families. And because we want to be part of their family also. So, and in our family here, so we have basically, we have 4 locations, well 5, but we have 4 locations that we will share our time with, our 3 kids and our home family here in this area. And but I just wanted to tell you again, if you're thinking about moving in retirement, start early. Start if you're going to retire and you know a date that you're thinking you're going to retire, start the process. I mean, seriously, start the moving process about 3 years early. That sounds ridiculous, but you're going to find that it's like, well, are you going to keep that really old couch or that really old table or the bed that squeaks and stuff? And start getting rid of those things early. Start downsizing your life a little bit early. And then if you do sell stuff, use that money, save that money, whatever it is, and save it for purchasing some new stuff later. But I tell you what, go through every nook and cranny in your house. You'd be surprised at how much garbage you have that you don't want to move. I mean, when you get older, picking up, let me show you something real quick. I'm going to turn you around and show you my living room, which is a total disaster. So I used to have a TV and TV stand up there. I just moved that upstairs. I used to have a red couch, a sectional couch. Just sold that on Craigslist. That was sitting here this last weekend. All of this stuff is stuff that's eBay. That's on eBay currently. And I'm not an eBay reseller. I started this process a year ago, almost a year ago today. It was like April of last year. I started to downsize our stuff, and I started putting a lot of stuff on eBay. So I've been doing this for about a year. And all of this stuff was in my other room. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to downsize. I'm trying to get rid of everything that I don't want to carry. And I'm trying to clear a space around my walls so that I can paint these walls so I can sell the house. And all of those tubs over there are empty. So I've got about 6 25-gallon tubs over there and a whole bunch of empty ones, all empty, but they used to be full. Those were full of things that we had stored and kept in the attic and the basement, and they're here for sale, and we gave a lot of it to Goodwill, and we sold a lot of it in a garage sale, and I'm going to have another garage sale. And that's not all of it. I still have 12 of those. I have 12 of those size right there, already in storage at a family's barn. And we still have like 4 or 5 upstairs that we're going through and thinning it out, throwing stuff away, making sure that we're not taking stuff. That's the thing. You don't want to move and take stuff you don't want or need. Those things, when they're full, get heavy. As I get older, I already told my wife, I don't want any more of these 25-gallon ones. Those things are heavy. When they're full of photos and books and etc., they're so heavy, I can't lift them. And so I don't want any more of those. So we're downsizing the big ones into smaller ones from the small ones that we've already emptied. And yeah, it's a process. It's a real process. I got to clean up this whole area, get the walls freed up, so I can paint this room and the other room where this stuff was at, and continue to keep selling things on Craigslist. I have an uncle who's taking one of our dressers. I got 2 tables I'm going to go post on Craigslist in a few minutes. I have a bedroom set I got to sell. I got some mattresses that are actually they're they're actually not that bad. They're only a couple years old, going to sell, and the beds, frames, the headboards, and I got, all that stuff we want to get rid of. And my wife and I, the only thing that's gonna be left is our bedroom, and I gotta slowly start to work on that. I'm cutting up the carpet in our bedroom and lifting it up, but I gotta do it in sections because I gotta move the bed, I gotta move things out of the way to get to the next section of carpet. So it's kind of a real pain. It's a slow process. So that's why I'm saying if you got things you need to do, your house is going to be needed to be fixed up in some way or other. You need to take the time to do it. So start this process 3 years out and save yourself a lot of stress and a lot of headache. All right. This is my third try at this video. Oh my gosh. So I wanted to throw at you some calculators. This particular calculator called Financial Calculators, it's on fncalculator.com. I actually downloaded the app from the App Store. They have Apple and Google, Android. I would highly, highly recommend this calculator. It looks like this well, at least on the Android system. Looks just like this. I used a lot the compounding interest and the 401k calculators. And what's nice is that the compounding interest is like if you're choosing to do like a bucket strategy system for withdrawals, and you may not know what that is, but maybe I'll talk about that in a future video, or you can just search it. Look up the 3-bucket system or 2-bucket system. The CFPs that I recommended to you talk about the bucket systems. So it's a 4%. There's a 4% rule. There's the 3-bucket system. There's different types of withdrawal strategies that you can take. So you need to learn all this stuff. I would suggest you start it way before you are planning to retire, or well, when you start to retire, but just do it before you're going to retire. So one of the little things I used a lot was this income analysis on the app. It's called income analysis, and when you click it, it looks like this. Well, it doesn't look like this, but you get these options on the app too, like how much money do you need, how much retirement fund. This is the one I use the most. Like how long will my fund last? So if you click it, put in how much money you saved, put how much money you think you're going to need a month, what your return rate is on your investment if you're going to keep it invested, and then calculate it. It'll tell you how long that will last based on what you've inputted. So if I had $500,000 and I took out $2,000 a month at 3.5% return rate, it would last me 38 years. So you want to calculate out all your funds for the rest of your life. I calculate out my funds until I was age 95. So I'm assuming that I'm going to die at age 95. But according to the Social Security statistics and according to the insurance companies, 50% of us who are alive, I think, at the age of 55 or age 60, will die around the age of 82, I think it is. Seriously. So that's why insurance companies, they don't really lose money. When you're signed up for, like, if you're going to get an annuity, they know exactly roughly how long the average person is going to live. So they don't do anything that's going to make them lose money. So a lot of us who are looking at this video today 50% of us are going to die. I'm sorry to say this. 50% of us are going to be dead by the age of 82. So when you are calculating out your retirement, always factor in, you're not going to need 100% of your income at age 80 because you're going to slow down tremendously. The only thing that's going to increase might be your medical costs later in life, but there's a balance. So I'm going to spend money while I'm younger in retirement. It's called the go-go, and I'm going to slow down when I hit like about 70, 75, probably more like 70. That's called the slow go. And then when you hit like in your 80s and you are not doing much of nothing or traveling, that's called the no-go. So you're pretty much isolated to your home base. So getting back to these calculators. So every broker, I'm not sure what your broker is, if you have one,
Check out your retirement plan through work if you have one. If you're young enough, I suggest you start one, and you can do like Les Schwab. They have a retirement calculator, and they'll start off with some basic questions, and you just go from there. Smart Assets has a calculator, and they'll start off with questions like, where do you live? Because they'll want to do tax. They'll basically do taxes. They'll probably ask you things like, how much money do you have saved? How much money do you want? How long do you want to live? Fidelity. Now, see, I have an account with Fidelity, and Fidelity has a really good calculator in a retirement planning calculator inside their system. And they will ask you this is like one of their basic setups here. Like anybody can do this right here. Basically age, the amount, what your Social Security is going to be. I'm assuming that's a withdrawal rate at 62, because it doesn't actually give you the opportunity to say when you want to take your Social Security. It tells you about how much money you're going to have to take out each month. It gives you some information. It can take you, and you can go further, like right here, create an income retirement plan, predictability, so you get options. But I would highly suggest that if you don't have any 401k right now, that you start with the Fidelity if you want. They've got a good calculator in there for retirement planning. It at least gives you access maybe to a little bit more tools. And so you will have a better vision of your retirement, how much money, how long it will last. That's the whole key thing, is how much money you're going to need each month, how long it will last. Vanguard has a simple snapshot tool that you could input some information, tells you, all of them have information. Now, T. Rowe Price, I was fortunate enough through Costco to have T. Rowe Price as a 401k broker. Now, I say fortunate because they had a really good tool in their catalog to help people with their financial planning. So it was actually called the Future Path tool. They no longer have the Future Path tool. They've changed it. Anyways, this is kind of a snapshot of, it allowed you to put in your Social Security, when you want your age, your wife's age, when you were going to take your Social Security, when she was going to take your Social Security, what income you were going to have, what income she was going to have with her Social Security. It allowed you to take in future debts, like maybe expenses, like maybe you wanted to go on a big trip. It allowed you to put in extra incomes, all kinds of little tweaks and information. And it would give you a graph similar to this right here. Like this is actually part of mine. My age for 95, I said that I want to have an income of $44,000 a year. It gives me a confidence score of 100% that I will not run out of money. And it kind of gives you this graph of like your spouse and when you're going to take your Social Securities. And it gives you this little chart that if there's any downfalls, it's going to tell you in your little chart. So like these are the first couple years, how much income we're going to have. And then maybe my wife's going to take her Social Security. So it changes. So what you're going to see here is this is the amount of money that I would have to withdraw from my 401k. But all of a sudden, since she's taking her Social Security, now this drops down. And it calculates a lot of stuff for you. And then it changes when I hit 70. And if I take my Social Security at 70, or she does, vice versa, I'm only going to need to take this much money out of my 401k to maintain the cost of living. So that's why it's doing inflation increases every year because of my Social Security cost, and calculate out. So this is all a snapshot. It's not something that's has to happen. And so, I mean, if my bucket 3, it's like I'm talking about the bucketing strategy system. If my bucket system, which means I have a cash bucket, I have a safe bucket 2, and I have a long-term bucket 3. So if I have a long-term bucket 3 that's in the index fund, and say for the last 10 years in our stock, in current times, if I were to do a snapshot of our last 10 years, which I would hope, which I don't think is going to happen because of this stupid war and everything else, this inflation and this stupid shipping thing that we got going on. Man, I don't think the next 10 years are going to be like our last 10 years at all. But if I saw that my bucket 3 was earning like 18%. Then somewhere in this range, somewhere in the middle before I hit 70, if my bucket three was earning more than my goal. So if my goal for bucket 3 was to earn 7 to 8%, but I was earning 18%, I could start taking a little bit of that bucket 3 out in my mid 60s and shoving it over into a bucket 3 or bucket 1 cash and or a Roth, putting it into a Roth, which is probably what I would more likely do, start putting stuff more into a Roth, conversions, little conversions every year. Because by the time I hit 70 and I'm having to deal with my RMDs, which is your required minimum distribution, well, now it's at 72, but instead of having an income of 48,000 and only taking out 500, only having to take out $500 from my account, or 600 with all that Social Security, if I had been starting to roll stuff into a Roth, I can actually start having a much bigger income at age 70, and that, of course, that Roth money would be tax-free. So a lot of planning, and I know that when we hit, so right now we're back here in our late 50s, and I have one grandkid who's just over one. He's 1.5, and so we're going to have more grandkids popping out, I'm assuming, over the next probably 5 years. I'm going to take a wild guess that over the next 5 years, we're going to have 4 grandkids between, I'm just popping that out there, kids, if you're watching this. 4 grandkids, maybe. So by the time we hit our 70s, we're going to, those kids are going to be at an age where we can, if we're still able to, take them camping and stuff. And we're going to want to spend more money to see them. And so there's opportunities in our 60s to invest for our 70s when we're not going to be traveling too much abroad, but we might be spending more money with the kids, taking them to Disneyland, Disney World, and things like that. Things that we enjoyed when we were younger, we want them to enjoy the same thing. But, that it's just going to be expensive, more expensive. So we're planning ahead. And I hope that you guys are planning ahead. I just wanted to throw these calculators out there. Everybody's got them. You need to find what's going to work the best.